Okay, just very quickly, let me show you this seal right here. This is the original mark and seal and insignia of the Methodist Episcopal Church from 1785 after it becomes an official church. You've got two hearts and two birds holding branches of love in their mouth, showing the fellowship, the warm-hearted fellowship of the Methodist Episcopal Church. Quite a bit different than our cross and flame today. I think I rather prefer the two birds and the two hearts beating as one. Anyway, this is just a brief tour, and you can look at that at your leisure in John Street virtual tour. Be sure to see the Manhattan cross there at ground zero, and Methodism is important in the city there. It's a congregation that's functioning, particularly for those who work in Wall Street, and pray for John Street as they continue to work in the shadow and minister in the shadow, literally, of the World Trade Center. Okay, so we've seen Webb's work, and Thomas Webb is able to build, as a good quartermaster does, for his army, a congregation and a church in John Street in New York City. But his work also takes him to Philadelphia, as we already indicated, and he is able to purchase St. George's from the German Reformed Church at a bargain. They couldn't finish the congregation, couldn't finish the building. And so you can see the work of Webb throughout. Here's an old map of Philadelphia, and St. George's is on 4th and Race Street, 225 North 4th Street, and this congregation boasts from its work in 1769 that it is the oldest building itself. The building remains in the place and in the same condition. It's been renovated, but this is the oldest standing church building in Methodism. You can see here the interior, very similar to John Street, but really comes from an earlier generation, 1769. It's been relatively unchanged. Many firsts occur here. Francis Asbury, who we'll meet later, the great apostle of American Methodism, preached his first American sermon here in this pulpit. You've got John Street, oldest American Methodist church as a congregation, 1768, and then right following that, St. George's, which is the oldest standing structure. The congregation is not as old as John Street. But you can see there those important congregations still exist. If you look on your Google Earth piece, you can fly to St. George's here, flying out of New York here down into Philly. There you have old St. George's. A couple of images. You can see kind of the 3D image there. Kind of a cool piece there. And that's old St. George's there in the city center of Philadelphia. Oldest standing structure in American Methodism. There's a couple of other pieces of interesting material here in Philadelphia, but we'll leave that for another day. And at this point, I'd like to just say that although it seems like with Captain Webb and Embry working hard, that things are going well for the church. You've got two congregations in the two largest cities of America. Not all is well. The laity, although they appreciate the hard work and of course the money spent on these congregations, the laity are not completely thrilled with the work of Embry and Webb. In fact, the Society of New York sends a letter from the lay leader, Thomas Taylor, The temple hasn't even been finished. There's no choir, and they haven't even got the seats really there, with backs to their seats. But the laity are already unhappy with Embry and Webb. So a letter was sent by Thomas Taylor, who was the original lay leader of the church. He wrote to Wesley beginning in the 1765, but in 1769, Taylor sends actually a letter after the church is built, after they've gotten the money from Webb, and says, we lack an able and experienced preacher, one who has both gifts and graces necessary for the work. With respect to money for the payment of the preacher's passage, if they cannot procure it themselves, we will sell our coats and shirts to procure it for them. Great numbers of serious persons come to hear God's word at Johns Creek, as for their very lives, and their numbers have so increased that our house could not contain half the people. According to this here, they haven't even really finished the Wesley Chapel when Thomas Taylor is already asking for Wesley to relieve Embry and Webb and send his own preachers, send Wesley's preachers. Send us a preacher for the good of the thousands. Send one at once whose heart and soul are in the work. And a flame should be soon kindled, as would never stop as it reached the great South Sea. So we haven't even gotten the building erected. Webb and Embry have done great work, and the laity are already complaining. It's as if the staff parish relations committee, before there's even a church, has already weighed the preachers in the scales and found them wanting. Surely such a theme is very old in Methodist history, and it's not something that recent generations of staff parish or pastor parish relations committees have invented. So a call for preachers goes out. We will continue the story on Wesley's decision to send the great next phase of Wesleyan missionaries to consolidate the work of the lay immigrants begun so ably by Embry and Webb and Strawbridge. Thank you, Virtual Circuit Riders. We'll see you next time.